Dunny Dan, we are in the dun-dun.
Back in the dunny.
Back in the dunny.
Hey, what's your favorite cereal?
Dude, easy. 3 words. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
CTC?
CTC.
Getting that
love
CDA?
That
Getting that CTC?
Cody's daily acronyms with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. CDA,
Yeah.
CTC. No doubt. Hey, speaking of, I was doing a little QCM.
Yeah.
Little, quality control measure.
Yeah.
Looking over our past podcasts and just looking at how we get into episodes.
Yeah.
I established or identified a funny pattern.
What's that?
We always start by saying, "Hey, Dan."
There we go.
We're in the dunny, man.
That's our way in.
Yeah. I was wondering, I don't think it's so much a function of just not having anything to say as much as a function of like, it is genuinely good to be in the dunny.
It is good to be in the dunny. Also, I think it's the easiest way in.
Yeah, I was going to say you look very skeptical when I said that.
Yeah, that's like I got that cynical face.
Yeah, you do that cynical face. Like we have no other way to get into an episode.
Other than, what's your favorite cereal?
Yeah. What's your favorite cereal?
That's our new one. I have no idea.
Not this again. All right. Oh, man. Just to give our listeners a little context, I asked Dan what his favorite cereal was the other day, and his brain short-circuited. I didn't realize that was the most difficult question that's ever been posed in life.
Yeah, but in fairness to me...
Okay, here you go.
In fairness to me, you also asked one of our close associates, one of our close friends.
Yeah.
And also, there wasn't an immediate response. I admit that person was able to come up with a response much easier than me.
Yeah.
But it took a little bit.
There was at least a response.
There's like 1 or 2 follow-up questions.
Oh, I love it. So if you ever get a chance to ask Dan what his favorite cereal is, or if we could ever dig that out, that would be great.
Well, here we go. Let's just roll with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
CTC. There you go.
CTC.
That wasn't that hard. Good
Let's jump
Lord.
in. Now that we got 2 minutes of B-roll.
Yeah, I love that. Nice shouts?
Nice shouts. Let's hit up
Dude,
some nice shouts.
We got 4 nice shots for the day. So last week, something great went down.
Yeah.
The Flag Mountain Film Fest.
Yeah, the 18th.
Yeah. Boom. So we got nice shout from Maria Campbell.
Yeah.
She's the director of Flag Mountain Film Fest and also the Arizona Women's Film Fest. And so, like you were saying, on the 18th, they did the virtual summer showcase, and they dedicated it to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, powerful.
Yeah, no doubt. And so they showcased 8 original short films as part of the Black August Showcase. And that was all in solidarity with activists and social justice organizations. And so then they donated a portion of their proceeds to Neurotoy, which was a nonprofit that focuses on uplifting and empowering women from different parts of the world through education, economic development, and get this, summiting mountains.
Yeah, nice shout.
Boom. So big shout to Maria and everyone who helped put on the Flagstaff Mountain Film Fest this summer in a pandemic.
Yeah, not an easy task to do that in the pandemic, and they pulled it off smoothly.
No doubt. So big, nice shout.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Kind of in combination with that, I think it'd be important to highlight Orpheum. Like, what a tough time for them as well. And they helped co-sponsor that same event, that film fest there. So, nice shout, Orpheum Flag. They're currently involved with a program called Save Our Stages, which provides economic relief to independent venues like Orpheum throughout the country, and Orpheum brings so much good stuff here to Flagstaff. So check out ways to support that with www.saveourstages.com.
Yeah, get there. Man, the Orpheum is like a Flagstaff staple.
It is.
Yeah, I used to go to movies there as a kid.
Did you?
Yeah, I saw Austin Powers there in high school.
Austin Powers
No
in the
doubt.
Orpheum.
Austin
That's
Powers
a
in the
memory.
Orpheum. Yeah. I used to be a movie theater back in the day.
Yeah. Well, and then nice shout, the homie Will McPherson.
Boom, numero tres,
Yeah.
Will McPherson.
Yeah. So he dropped off some stickers for us, some stickers he made for Rivers, Tommy Rivs, to support the ongoing recovery for Rivs. Dope stickers. Check them out. We'll post them. And shout out Will. You can check out his stuff. He's actually an adventure photographer. And you can check out his stuff at willmcpherson.com. That's WILLMCPHERSON.com.
All right, Will Mac. Yeah, thanks for the sticker. It was super cool, huh?
Yeah.
Supporting Ribs.
Yeah.
We've got one more nice shout. Stephen Goldstein.
Goldie Gold.
Yeah, that's Stephen Goldie Gold, man. Been hitting us up on the IG, also blowing us up on the Twitters.
Yeah.
Dude, I just want to say thank you for all the support and the appreciation for the potty. Thanks for tuning in. All the way from New York City.
Yeah, NYC.
NYC, man. The pod is coast to coast.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a little bit shocking that people succumb to listening to this.
Yeah, it is surprising. I saw on our thing that we had someone tune in from Belgium.
Yeah,
What kind of mistake was that?
Well, we've been getting feedback on the IG and to the podcast from South America.
Yeah.
From Europe. Yeah. So
mind blowing. Yeah. Thankies.
Yeah. Well, let's jump in then. So we're continuing with our mindfulness series. Yeah.
Love that.
We're going to jump in. We've moved on from acceptance. Some great posts. You put out some great posts on the IG. You storied those boomerangs on that Twitter feed of the IG.
I did. We did a boomerang.
Did we?
We did a boomerang. Check us out.
There you go. And now we're going to jump in with patience. You want to spell that one?
Payshin's. Patience. Is that right?
Nailed it.
Phonetics. Phonetics.
Hooked on phonetics. Word
no
for
doubt.
you. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, we're going to jump in with patience. And I know that this is also a common pattern for us, but we're going to start with the definition. But we're going to start with the definition, and then we're going to jump into all the exciting features of the life of a butterfly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dude, I love butterflies.
Look forward to that.
Biophilia.
Yeah, they make the world beautiful, right?
No doubt.
Yeah. So with the definition, looking at the homie, Merriam-Webster, NW, coming through, defines patience as bearing pains or trials calmly or without complaint.
Okay.
Secondly, manifesting forbearance under provocation or strain. And lastly, steadfast despite opposition, difficulty, or adversity. Yeah.
Okay.
And in all three of those, it's interesting. There's basically two components. One, something's uncomfortable. And two, is that you kind of persevere through that discomfort.
Yeah, there's like a stick-to-itness.
Yeah.
With that. Okay.
Stick-to-itiveness.
Is
Something like that.
there an IV in there?
Yeah, you want to spell that one?
Ugh, maybe later. I have to write that out.
Okay. To take it one step further, let's go to the homie, John Kabat-Zinn.
Yeah.
And his definition of patience in the mindfulness framework. So in the attitude of patience as it relates to mindfulness, he says to understand and accept the fact that things must unfold in their own time, a form of wisdom.
Blammo.
There you go.
Drop the mic there, call it good.
Yeah. A form of wisdom.
A form of wisdom. Yeah. Hey, he did use a previous attitude that we talked about there, huh?
Yeah.
Accept. You
Accept.
have to acknowledge the fact that things must unfold in their own time. A form of wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got to accept it. And the patience component, I think, really requires an awareness to the fact that things do unfold in their own time.
Yeah.
So when he describes it, he actually, that's what leads into addressing the exciting nature of a butterfly's life.
Yeah, I'm pumped, man. Break it down.
Break it down.
Yeah.
So you know how butterflies start, right?
This is like a birds and the bees kind of thing.
Well, let's jump one step forward to that. So after conception, how does a butterfly's life get started? It's interesting because they have several stages of life, and and their evolution through those stages is maybe more pronounced than virtually any other animal or species or insect or
more than humans, sharks.
Well, I don't know. I guess it would depend on the human. Yeah.
It could be a detailed, pretty wild process.
So what do they begin as after conception?
Just a young bean. Larvae?
Larvae.
Larvae?
Good guess. Yeah, larva?
Larva?
Larva.
Oh, I thought it was a larvier. It's like French.
Larvier?
Yeah, larvier.
Well, let's talk about American butterflies for now.
Okay.
Just because that's where we're at. But
well, Americans love eggs.
Yeah. Larvier is the French. Here in America, they begin as eggs. But then they transform into larvae and become caterpillars.
Okay.
Yeah. And so as a caterpillar, they actually have this focus where they consume foods. They're trying to acquire the necessary nutrients to go into that next stage of life. So they've already made a jump. They're an egg and then a larva to a caterpillar. And then after that, they transform into a pupa.
Pupa.
Yeah.
All right.
So they transform into a pupa and they enter transition in a chrysalis.
Dang. This is like a lesson in biology right now. This is
Here we
great.
go. Here
Riveted.
we go. Yeah, it's super deep biology.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so in the chrysalis, that's that little circular sac that they develop out of and become butterflies. That process, when they're in the chrysalis, can actually take up to weeks or months, that part of the process in themselves.
Okay.
And so John Kabat-Zinn, he uses this as an example, saying basically like a child, or for our sake, we could like say a chinchilla nice.
Are you equating the two right now? Like a child is like a chinchilla nice?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you good with that?
Yeah, we could go chinchilla nice.
Okay. So John Kabat-Zinn says, a chinchilla nice may try to help a butterfly to emerge by breaking open its chrysalis. Usually the butterfly doesn't benefit from this. And I'm going to say it doesn't. Unless it's really close to getting out anyways. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it doesn't benefit from this. Any adult knows that the butterfly can only emerge in its own time and that the process cannot be hurried. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to hear that process can differ too. Mm-hmm. Like that could be weeks to months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Depending on the species, location, I even think the temperature or some of that can influence it.
Okay.
Based on my very naive understanding of it.
Yeah, really in-depth biological take on butterflies.
Yeah.
Chrysalis.
Well, you said they're beautiful yourself. You said they're beautiful.
I'm not arguing that. They are beautiful. So the thing there is that the process takes its own time, depending on all these different variables. If you try to force it,
yeah, it's no bueno. It's no bueno for the butterfly.
No bueno
so
for the butterfly.
Hypothetically, if you got so excited to see that beauty early, it's not gonna bode well.
Gotcha.
And part of the reason for that, just to go into more detail about the evolutionary process of butterfly, is when they're in that chrysalis, it's so interesting. The cells of that caterpillar actually break down. Organs dissolve and become different parts of what ultimately becomes the butterfly. They basically disintegrate into this gooey substance.
Yeah.
And if you were to cut the chrysalis open, in fact, that's how they discovered that this happens this way. Yeah. If you cut the chrysalis open, in the middle of the process, it'd basically be like two pieces of gooiness.
Gooiness. Put that in the field notes.
Yeah.
Cut open chrysalis and found two pieces of gooiness.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how it was written.
Yeah.
The first time this was discovered.
I don't doubt it. That's pretty fascinating. So they actually kind of do this deconstruction, reconstruction sort of thing.
Yeah. Wow. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
Like, so the cells, break down entirely. So it's not like the caterpillar becomes the center portion of the insect's body of the butterfly. Mm-hmm. They reorganize altogether. Like organs become completely different things.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so John Kabat-Zinn, in using that butterfly example, is basically saying everything has a process. And whenever we try and step in and hurry that process, we interrupt the development of that, and it doesn't produce a benefit and maybe produces harm.
Yeah.
So it leads me wonder, I'm going to put you on the spot because I didn't ask you this before.
Here we go.
Yeah. Have you had any times in your life where you felt like you were trying to hurry a process or interrupt a process, or felt like you wanted something over with?
I mean, so many times. I know I've talked about school already. Yeah. One that really jumps into my mind was my dissertation. I think we've maybe talked about this personally, but maybe not on the pod. Yeah. So my dissertation, it wrote the whole prospectus, which is a ton of work, lit review, introduction, all of that. Mm-hmm. And then launched my dissertation, which was a controlled trial, and it just failed. Like I got no one for it. It was humiliating.
So you didn't have study participants?
Correct. I think I would have had like N equals 2.
So like the design, the methodology, that was all good. Just the participants.
No participants.
Just the execution.
Yeah, it was surprising. For some reason, like fraternity and sorority students didn't want to come learn about alcohol consumption.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird. Like how it might actually be harmful in a lot of ways.
Man, I would have thought that you would have gotten the entire student population.
Yeah, I was truly surprised. But I had to go back and totally rewrite major parts of my dissertation to change the participants and who we were going to be looking at. Yeah. And then had to relaunch that. But I know in initially launching that and then it not going well, how impatient I felt with all of that
Yeah.
and trying to rush the process. And I think had I rushed that process, it wouldn't have led to a dissertation that would have been as good.
Yeah.
Could have just tried to like throw something together and get it done and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I also think I had an advisor that wouldn't let that happen.
One William Martin.
Yeah, one William Martin Jr. Yeah, no doubt. So I think between his guidance and kind of like his stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man. That really helped me just kind of like stick to the project.
Yeah.
And there's so many parts of the dissertation that you can't force. Like they have to unfold on their own time.
Yeah.
Like recruiting participants.
Yeah.
Actually launching the thing. That all has to happen in its own time.
Yeah. Learning to respect that college students don't want to answer a questionnaire and learn about alcohol consumption.
Yeah, it's so weird. I thought everyone would just be so pumped.
Spend their Saturday night listening to the details of alcohol consumption.
Yeah, they just weren't into that.
Yeah.
Another kind of example too that I think might be relevant is also, I know we talked about like cycling and running and that kind of thing a lot, but when I think about mindfulness in patients, how impatience transforms or like really kind of changes your experience. So like I was thinking of this time where like misjudging mileage on a run. And thinking like I should already be somewhere. And then you learn that like, well, actually, we have 3 or 4 more miles kind of thing.
Yeah.
And how impatient you can grow with that and be frustrated about where you are.
Yeah.
And so then it changes your whole experience. You could be outside running beautiful trails in Flagstaff, Arizona, and be upset.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah. I've had that go both ways too, to where the marker came sooner than expected and then later than expected, and both are fine. But they can change entirely the experience, and that's impatience, right? That's informing that attitude in that moment.
Exactly.
And so when we talk about patience, we have to respect that each of us as individuals, and if you think about this butterfly as if it were an individual, have our own process and the own time for that. Even the variance between different species are unique to each butterfly in how long they spend in that chrysalis. That's an individual process that's going on.
Yeah. And I think we might be getting there, but just the idea that processes also can become reliant on other processes.
Yeah.
And so by forcing one doesn't really.
Yeah. So that is like, for me, I think, sometimes it can be really hard to have patience for my own process or for the process that's going on for me. And then implicit in what's written by John Kabat-Zinn is that everything is in a process. And so everything around us. And I had an experience that highlighted this for me a few weeks ago. I floated the river with my kids down from Glen Canyon Dam to Lee's Ferry, right? Good trip. And so I realized in that process that my son's process was different than my daughter's. And sometimes it led to impatience for him.
Okay, so he was trying to get down that river.
He's getting down that river. What was difficult about it is I noticed that different parts of the river have different currents, right? And I think that's something that's obvious anytime you go and do something like that. But in this trip, I became particularly aware of that because it influenced the process that would go on for us as a family. He liked the faster parts of the river and he liked paddling faster, and the combination of those two amplified what was already a process going on, a process of, or a conflict of two different processes between him and my daughter. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And that's just two in that whole scenario with your process, the river's process, everything else that's happening. So there are all these processes that are going on in combination. And when we build in an expectation for our process, or when we build in an expectation for the processes around us, it leads to the sensation of impatience when that expectation is not met. And so this is what he's writing about, is that we have to respect that we're in a process and everything around us is in a process, and when we're trying to resist or fight that process, we'll experience that impatience. It makes so much sense. And then again, like the thing I highlight there is in our relationship to that impatience is where we create our suffering. And so we might notice like, okay, I feel impatient with this, I want to be somewhere else on the river. Our favorite saying, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do? You
What
gonna go
are
down
you
that
gonna
river
do?
faster?
You gonna go down
Get
that
to the
river
end now?
faster?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And that question, we like that question because you can apply it to virtually anything, right? If you think about your own process and processes of things around you, there's such a wide scale this can occur on. It can occur with writing a dissertation, or it can occur with waiting in line at the grocery store.
Oh yeah,
right?
Milton at 5:10 p.m.
Hitting that Milton at 5:10.
Yeah, you can get through traffic quicker.
What are you gonna do?
You can get to the end of Milton now.
What are you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Yeah. And so there's some ways that people talk about trying to practically apply the development of patience in your day-to-day life, and using patience as an attitude for mindfulness, to respect, to step back. If you're in traffic at 5:10 on Milton, this is what it is. I got to step back and realize, this is in a process that felt different than mine, and I can resist it or accept it.
Yeah. What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
No.
Yeah. So earlier we mentioned how in his definition he described patience, John Kabat-Zinn described patience as a form of wisdom. And he actually goes into detail about how he sees it as a form of wisdom. He says it demonstrates that we understand and accept the fact that sometimes things must unfold in their own time. Yeah.
I think I highlighted this earlier, and I only amplified that word accept, right? Only pointed toward that one. And again, going back to that mindfulness attitude is the practice of acknowledging reality as it is. But before that, he also says that there's an understanding. And I think that wisdom piece really lends into that as well. That one, we have to understand this is the way it is. This is the way that things are designed, that processes unfold in their own time. And then we have to acknowledge and practice openness toward it.
Yeah. And we have to practice openness, because if we're waiting to get to the next important thing, that means that we're never really currently there with the thing that's going on as it actually is going on.
And that is mindfulness, is to be there and to put all of your being into that moment. And again, we talk about the opposite being forgetfulness. And so, with that impatience, it just takes you somewhere where you're not.
Yeah. So then how do you practically apply this patience?
I've been kind of wondering that this whole time.
You've been wondering that because you're wondering why I'm addressing patience?
So why are we talking about patience? Like, can we just get to the end and get all the practical stuff?
Yeah. The practical stuff. Yeah. The process of this is not congruent with my process.
This isn't what I need. I need practical stuff now.
Yeah. Well, how have you done with patience then?
I'm going to rate myself 0 to 10 or what?
Yeah.
10.
10. There you go. Every time.
Look how skeptical you look.
Nailed it.
Always say 10.
Nailed it.
Yeah. None of this 6 or 7. Yeah. Always a 10.
Yeah. Perfection. Yeah. Well, so there are some practical applications. And to begin with is to actually induce moments or actually pursue moments that may induce that impatience. Yeah.
Like on purpose?
Yeah.
Go put myself in Milton at 5:10 p.m.
YOLO.
You only live once, so go sit in traffic.
Yeah. But in that, there's a prime opportunity to experience impatience, and then to step back and apply some of these other practical skills we'll go over. So in all honesty, this is something that I've incorporated at different points with something as benign as being in traffic. I've found myself sometimes when I'm running errands to feel like I need to get this over with, or this is taking longer than expected or longer than I wanted. And occasionally, not every time, I'll actually start to park further away from the entrance to wherever it is I'm going as a mean to respect, this is all okay. This will take the time that it needs to take.
Yeah.
And when I do that, it basically puts me in a situation where I'm being open to that experience of impatience and then resetting to respect what the process around me actually feels like.
Yeah, and I like how you were mentioning doing that intentionally. Like with that, by intentionally parking further away or putting yourself in a situation that demands patience, it's kind of like training that muscle in a sense. It's developing that skill.
So you can pursue situations that maybe typically induce that impatience, and that would be like a first step. That's not going to solve it. At that point, you then have to be open to what your thoughts and feelings are. So that would be the second practical application, is once you find that opportunity to be in Milton at 5:10, you step back and then you mindfully notice what thoughts are occurring. So if you can reframe it as actually an opportunity to pay attention to what impatience does in relation to your thinking.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, our society is so bent on that. Like, we kind of get trained to not be where we are.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get to that next thing.
Yeah.
Keep getting to that next thing.
Yeah.
Get where I'm going.
Yeah, get on that hamster wheel, right?
Get on that hamster wheel, man.
Yeah, jump off.
Jump off.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah. The last one I think is a really good one too. I can catch myself sometimes in conversations with others where, like, I'm thinking about my response, or I actually start saying my response before the person has shared what they're saying. And one way to practice that skill of patience, that attitude of patience, is to be intentional and to be aware, mindfully aware of your role in that conversation, and make sure you're listening to what the other person is sharing in its entirety before you formulate your response, before you offer your response.
Yeah, we can get impatient listening to others wanting to share what it is that we think or what it is that we feel now. And also with the idea that, like, oh, I need to share this now so I don't forget it, so we can interject or interrupt or something like that. Yeah. So mindfully listening, being present with other people in conversation.
Yeah. Mindfully listening. Yeah. So those are some practical applications for developing that attitude of patience, and that attitude of patience correlates with what you said at the start of this recording, that it goes hand in hand with acceptance, that we have to understand everything's in a process, that we're in a process, and in order to incorporate patience, we've got to respect those processes going on and accept them.
Yeah. I love that.
Let me tie it all up with, I think, one of my favorite quotes that addresses the topic of patience. And for me, I think it's such a powerful quote because it really points to a model of patience. Yeah, it's by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he says, "Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience."
No better place to end than there.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So then why don't you take us out by shouting us out?
Yeah, will do. So you can always check us out on our website, www.beyondflag.com. Flag spelled
FLG.
Boom. And hit us up on Instagram. We are beyond_flag, also spelled FLG. We got posts. We got stories. We got profiles.
Do we?
We got a profile. And a name. We got a name on there. So hit us up on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then there's
add
another.
us.
Add us. And while you're adding us on Instagram, add us on Twitter.
With that circle A.
Boom. At beyond_flag. Twitter. 22 followers and growing. Watch it work. Just let that process unfold as it does.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. In the meantime, keep it fresh.
Take care.
Love yous.